More details about the police investigation into the murders of Savanah Soto, Matthew Guerra, and their unborn son were released today in the trial of Christopher Preciado. Some of those details we had not heard before. KSAT 12's Erica Hernandez joining us live just outside of that courtroom. Erica, we know that Christopher's father, Ramon Preciado, he is also charged with helping his son cover up this crime, and today he was allowed to be in the courtroom.
That's correct. In fact, the moments that he walked in got very ticked in that courtroom this morning. And it led to two of Savanah Soto's brothers being escorted out of the courtroom and not allowed back in. And then a deputy sat next to Ramon Preciado throughout all day, and they even escorted him around the building throughout the day during breaks. This is something I had not seen before. But regarding that testimony, we heard a lot from detectives and crime scene investigators throughout the day. They were able to pinpoint Soto's phone at the home where Preciado was located. Back in December 2023, prosecutors say Guerra and Soto went to Preciado's home to sell drugs to Christopher Preciado before being killed at the home. Inside the house, detectives said the bedroom door of Ramon Preciado and Mita Romanos, who is Christopher's mother, was locked, and it took Mirta a while to open it.
She was pretty nervous, but none of the keys that she had would unlock it. We would have to take the door off the hinges if necessary. Mirta asked us to wait. She went back downstairs, grabbed another set of keys, came up, and had a key that unlocked the door.
Inside the bedroom, a small handgun and casings were found. Police believe they matched the one found in Guerra's car. Now, investigators also collected clothing and shoes from the Preciado home to be tested because they were believed to be blood on them. And a small blood stain was also found on the cables to the home security system. Later, it was also revealed that a person who lived a street over called police to tell them they had found money with blood on it in the street. Now, we just heard from a firearms expert just moments ago who was able to tie together that gun found inside the home did match the casing that was found inside of Guerra's car. Now, there's been about more than a little 20 witnesses that have gone on the stand. We're expecting around 35 to 36, so tomorrow will be another long day of testimony. But if found guilty, Christopher Preciado would automatically be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
In court today, the jury saw some of the final moments of Matthew Guerra. This surveillance video shows him walking around his Leon Valley apartment complex on the night of December 21st, 2023. This is about an hour and a half before he left in the silver Kia that his body was found in 5 days later. Police say Matthew had a contact gunshot to the head, meaning that the gun was placed directly to his head when fired. Police say Matthew was found dead wearing the same clothing and jewelry seen in the surveillance video, though 2 of his rings were missing.
So there was a really big piece of evidence that we had not known about before that was revealed, and it was all about GPS evidence from Ramon Preciado's truck. Now, Ramon Preciado is the father of Christopher Preciado, who is also facing charges related to this case. But as that GPS evidence was shown to the jury, it tracked the truck and its whereabouts, which we had seen from security footage was at Danny K Drive, where the car of Matthew Guerra was found on December 26th. But what was more interesting, Myra, is that we found out 2 days after Matthew Guerra and Savanah Soto were killed, that truck was seen going to an apartment complex on Gruesome Road. It ended up being the apartment where Matthew and Savanah lived at. It was there for about 20 minutes, but we have not heard yet why the police believe they went back to that, or they went to that apartment in the first place. So it'll be interesting to hear what the lead detective, who is on the stand right now, will say if there's any connection and why they went there. Myra.
So, Erica, not only do we have this capital murder trial going on, but the family of one of the victims, Matthew Guerra, is now suing Christopher Preciado's father, Ramon. He is also charged in this case. So why did they file that lawsuit?
Henry, a process server who had a legal paper for the defendant's father showed up here in the hallway. He was looking for Ramon Preciado, who was about to return from lunch. And sure enough, within a few minutes, the lunch break was over and the Preciados were returning. That's when the process server attempted to hand off the paperwork. And at first, the Preciados refused to accept the legal notice, but when it was placed on the floor, he eventually did pick it up. Now, the server provided a copy of that paperwork to us. It says the Guerra family, who lost their son Matthew in the murder, is suing Almighty Air Conditioning. The notice says Ramon Preciado is the company's registered agent, and the clock is ticking for him to respond to the suit. Now, it says the document was filed back in December, but it was obviously just served today. And the server told us it's filed against the company because a lot of times people who feel like they've been wronged will go after a company rather than an individual because there might be an insurance payout to be had. Now, meanwhile, back in court, there was much more forensic evidence, and all of the samples collected from the car where the bodies were found were gone over in great detail. And testimony is scheduled to continue well into next week, and we will be with it throughout.
We've reached the end of the first week of this very high-profile trial, and for the first time, we're getting new insight into this murder case through the eyes of witnesses, including SAPD Detective Jeremy Goodwin. He is a homicide detective, and the jury listening to Goodwin as he talked about the very moment he made the gruesome discovery of Savanah and Matthew's bodies in a car. The prosecution asking Goodwin to take the court through what he saw with Savanah and Matthew Guerra's families listening intensely as he first talked about opening the passenger side car door and seeing Savanah.
She had been sitting in that position as she had lividity, which is a pooling of blood. As you're sitting there, the pooling of blood, the lowest part. She also had the baby carrier on top of her with some papers, mail underneath that.
Detective Goodwin then proceeded to talk about Matthew Guerra. He says Matthew's legs were over the center console of the car, his pants covered with blood, and it also appeared he had a lighter on his lap.
His body, I said, was hunched over. His left arm was hanging down. His right hand was near his groin. I noticed the apparent bullet defect in his head, and it appeared that there was that black ring around it.
Very emotional testimony as the trial picks up next week, one with extra security. Both Christopher Preciado's father, Ramon Preciado, and mother, Mirta Romano, seen in this video, were escorted in. Ramon is also accused of helping his son Christopher move the bodies. A date for his trial has not been set yet. That is the latest from the Live Desk.
Testimony will continue Monday in the murder trial of Christopher Preciado. He's charged in the killings of Savanah Soto, Matthew Guerra, and their unborn child in 2023.